Okay, Sean, we are live now.
Thank you. Can I have the host back so I can screen share?
Hold on.
Oh, wait.
I
Okay,
already allow you.
never mind. Then can you allow me screen? Oh, okay, you can allow screen sharing options. Okay. So hello everyone, welcome to MUSA election training. Wait, MUSA election, annual election 2022 MUSA training. I am Sean Pan, your RO for this year. Along with me, I have Alithia Goh and Dakshina Fernando, which are my very helpful team of DROs. So before we start, this is the naming convention. As you can see here, we have the name, then we have the role, right? So you have Sean Pan _ RO. For candidates, please put the C bracket before your whole name. And just a heads up, we have a few QR codes along the presentation. So just prepare your phones and be ready to scan anything. With that, I think if everyone is ready, then we can move on. I can pass the floor to Alithia.
Yep, sure, thanks. You
Okay.
can go to the next slide. Okay, well, welcome. This is the structure of our briefing today. So we'll have an introduction to MUSA by the HAC, then we'll follow by President's Notes by the President, Dominic, and then we'll have a quick candidate briefing conducted by the Election Commission, us, and then we'll have breakout sessions with your office bearers. Yep, okay, next. I can take it away, Michelle or Eunice.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I see there's a lot of you, right? I'm getting a little bit nervous. Okay, so just a quick introduction. I don't think any of you know me. Can you go to the back slide first? I want to do something. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm Michelle. I was the 2020 School of Science representative. So if you are from School of Science, please give a shout out so that I know who my juniors are. I think I'm pretty old already by your standard because I already graduated last year, and MUSA is quite kind of out of touch, but of course I'm still following your pages, right? So you need to want to give a quick introduction because for HSC there's only 2 of us. You can come back to us if you have any questions after this training.
All right. So hi guys, hi to all the candidates, and thanks for the Election Commission to actually host on this MUSA training. So my name is Eunice, as you can see from the name, and I was the General Secretary for MUSA 2021. So if you are in the executive committee or if you want to know more about the Gen Sec role, do hit me out and I can just brief you on there. So yeah, short and simple. Maybe Michelle, you want to take away?
Okay, thanks, Eunice. Okay, so before I start, I just wanted to do this very quick pop quiz thing where I'll just give you guys 30 seconds or something to tell me, or not tell me because there's so many of you. I didn't expect to have, so many of you. Just write a quick one in the chat, what you think you know about MUSA. I'm quite curious, what I used to think about what MUSA was when I first joined and what you guys think, right? So just a quick one. I'm just gonna give you guys 30 seconds, very quick. Okay, so while you guys do that, I'm gonna tell you how old I am. I'm 23 this year, so probably not very old lah. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly time 30 seconds. Okay. All right. I wish I have the time to go through all of these, but I'll read, later. And I think this part is very important because some of you guys may be new, some of you guys may be already an office bearer. I saw one of you guys are rerunning. That's the passion that I would like to see in myself. I wish I saw it myself when I was an office bearer because I did not rerun. That just shows how passionate you are about MUSA. Okay, so I'm very happy to see that. So if you're new, you might see that, after this training session, what you think you know about MUSA might be different or similar, in a sense. So this is just something that to keep in watch. And then at the end, you can just do a quick self-reflect again, so that you can, try and see how much you learned from this training, okay? So you can go to the main slide now. Okay, thanks. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about MUSA is that it is an independent organization, okay? It is important that you know that, because a lot of times we may think that we need to follow student life, or everything have to ask student life, but actually we don't, okay? We are fully autonomous and self-governed, okay? That's something important, but because we represent the whole student body in Monash, Malaysia, it is also important that whatever decision you make, whatever suggestion that you want to make to your department or to the organization as a whole, it is important that you think as a student body, not just what you think, okay? And the rest of what I'm going to say today will be pretty much covered in this below link. If you haven't, gone through the Monash Malaysia MUSA page, they are pretty informative. So I just picked, a few points that I think are basically what, mainly represent us as MUSA, okay? So of course, we organize university-wide events, campaigns, and workshops, all right? So I'm very glad that some of the MUSA general events like Monash Cup, not sure if we have Monash Ball this year, and orientation events. Very, very happy, this year I got to see a lot of the interesting orientation events. Maybe not orientation bash yet, but if you guys have the chance next year, please have an orientation bash, because that's very fun, and it really helps new students to get together and feel comfortable with each other quickly, okay? So before you become an office barrier, it is important to know that your perspective will be different now, because before this, unless you join the committee, which will be very beneficial for you, because you get to know what's really happening behind the scenes of organizing an event. But if you haven't, you really need to get mentally prepared that your perspective will be now different. You will no longer be the student who is just going to an event and enjoy whatever that's being organized. You will be there to make sure that everything goes well. If there's any situation that is unpleasant, and you really have to step in and be professional, right? So apart from the university-wide events, there's also inter-school events, okay? The thing about inter-school events is different. It can be as crazy as your imagination allows, as long as it's appropriate and beneficial to your students. And I would really encourage, if you will be running as a school rep, to partner with other schools, because that will really bring you out of your comfort zone than just working with your own team. You will really learn a lot from learning with other teammates, other school representatives, and their own team. And that will really make you grow as a person, to resolve conflicts, because sometimes you have multiple perspectives. Okay, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, because this is something that will be a huge part of you, but it's also something that you shouldn't also focus so much on. It should be like half-half, okay? Another half should be representing student body, okay? And this is something huge, because when it comes to academic affairs, every student is different. Even though every semester we have the semester feedback, I'm not sure what the name is already. It's being led by the Australian campus. Every school could also have their own staff student liaison feedback thing. That is important, because you are representing students to deliver their complaints to your the head of school management body, right? So the thing about students is, I think sometimes they don't know how to communicate. So as a leader, as a student representative or an EXCO member, it is important that you know how to deliver a feedback from students professionally, because sometimes you really have to filter. Some students just complain for no reason, or they are just trying to prank, or trying to make the school sound so bad. Okay, so other than that, there's also the APC. If you're ever being invited to join this, it will be a very interesting experience, because you will really get to see what it's like to be in a very serious professional setting where you have to, contribute to making a decision on whether this student deserve another chance to stay in Monash or not. Okay. Other than that, subsidies or reimbursements, you may not have a chance to do this, depending, but you should promote this to your student bodies. Okay, no matter in what position, you are eligible to make a decision to subsidize or reimburse on behalf of a student who are representing Monash for a competition or conference. Last but not least is about interpreting MUSA constitutions. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I went over time, but just give me a little more time to explain on this one, because as an ex-school representative, I don't think I spent a lot of time on this, because I had my own departmental constitution, which was not that long, so I didn't really have to work on it. So it's something that I'm not good at, honestly, but for my experience, it's best to go to someone who is passionate and knowledgeable about law and governance to go through the constitutions with you. Because if you don't really understand law, right, when you read those words, it can be confusing and very technical. So I did not, get that, and I really like I actually took a lot of advice from my successors and also previous MUSA barriers to guide me on this. Okay, so the rest of the things, please, if you don't know, go to the website and just have a quick read on the things that you should do as a MUSA member, and the things that you shouldn't do and you will have no right to do. Okay, there are some rules and regulations, as even though we are independent. Okay, and the last thing that I really want to point out is that when you become a MUSA office barrier, things are really different, because you'll be working with a lot of people in a pretty much professional setting. As much as you want to think that I'm just a student at heart, come on, we're just kids. But honestly, when you decide that you actually want to step up into this position, you really have to make things professional. Okay, you do have the responsibility to be decent and professional as a team, and also representing the whole Monash Malaysia student body. Okay, so it is important when you work with your teammates, other MUSA office barriers, to stay compassionate, to stay kind and patient, because we will always have conflicted ideas. We always have different points of view. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, if that person is wrong. You genuinely think that person is wrong, but always be kind to people. So that's something that I want to point out, because it could really cause unnecessary conflicts or issue if you ever feel like you are the right one, because we have egos, right? If you always think you are the right one, then working as a team will be very difficult. So I'm not going to spend so much time. I think I'm taking so much time than I expected, because I think I'm just too happy to share my experience and whatever. So if you have any questions, just ask me. I'm going to pass quick time to Eunice to share some tips and tricks, because she's younger than me, so she might have more in advice from for you guys than me.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. So I think I only can speak on behalf of my role back then as a general secretary. So like what Michelle has said, like there's a lot of different committees and like you need to display on professionalism, etc. Right? So I think I'll focus more on the constitution part since that the general secretary actually holds on this role. So for all the candidates right here, right, I will actually urge all of you to actually look through on the constitution, know on your power, know on your responsibilities, know on your direction as a department, as an office bearer, and how to serve the students, how to really liaise on the upper hours of student life, ITS department, etc. So, the constitution is basically like what people say is the Bible of MUSA, right? And there's a lot of how to say functions that you might not even discover throughout your term. Like every bits and pieces of the information must be collected and must be known in your own term. And it's best for you to actually know after when you were to be elected or being chosen by the students, right? So there's different functions like there's 7 committees, and then you have your own subcoms, right? And then you also need to attend on maybe faculty meetings like school representatives, or for example, for executive committees, you guys will need to actually attend on student life meetings, or need to attend on finance department meetings. So there's actually various functions, and as an office bearer, it's really, really hard for you to actually manage your time alongside with your studies, of course. So I would just urge all of you to go through on the constitution, go through on the handbook, which is provided by your predecessors, which is the current OBs, and then also try to read up on the election regulations since that all of you are candidates right now. So try to not really breach the constitution, breach the regulation in order for you to successfully go through all of the phases. And I think for tips and tricks, right? I think the only thing that I can say is try to manage your time well, since that the COVID-19 is gonna end, right? And then everything's gonna be converted to on campus. So there's gonna be a lot of work. You need to actually find sponsorships. You need to actually attend on event coverage, activities for students. So there's a lot of things, and I just urge that you guys manage your time well. So I think that's all from my end. Yeah, short and simple. Yeah, but thanks, Michelle. And I think I will just pass it back to the Election Commission.
Okay. Thank you, HAC, for the nice introduction. Now we also have a few notes by our current president, Dominic. Dominic, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
There's 2 Dominics here.
Yeah, there's 2.
Dominic, the president of MUSA, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, here you go. I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so nice to meet everyone here. It's good to see some old faces and a lot of fun to see a lot of new faces. I have high hopes for the session later and see what you all can gain from the information. I think we can go to the first slide first. I'll just give you guys some notes and insights that I think will be very valuable for you guys for the next I don't know, forever how long your term will be, assuming that majority of you will be elected lah. Okay, first of all, before I start, can I ask everyone, if you have a camera, please turn on your camera. The main people in this, the election is not the election commission, the HSC or the current office bearers. It is you guys, the candidates. So it'll be nice to see all your pretty faces. Thanks so much, guys. Okay, so I'll just start off with my first slide. Okay, for those of you who are not Malaysian, this is a common joke, the tagline, Musa, boleh makan ke? Can eat one. So what I want to talk about is what MUSA really is. You hear a lot of things about what MUSA is from a description. The most common description we'll give people is that, oh, we are a student body that is founded by the students, runs for the students, we do things for the students, but what is it really about? And if you have conversation with a lot of your friends, you'll realize that, oh, actually, most students don't really know what MUSA is actually, there's so little information. Actually, even if there is information, not a lot of people know what exactly we do. So I'll just put down a few notes here what MUSA really is, at least according to our 2022 term. what we are is a family. We are a family that is 52 office bearers big. We are 200 plus subcom wide. It's a lot of people. This is actually, if I were to give like a estimate, right? We are the largest student organization in the entirety of Malaysia. That is true. We are. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing is commitment. MUSA is not something that you should join if all you are here for is to this is something that it's going to occupy your life for the next couple of months before your term even starts, and it's going to occupy your entire job. Yeah, what Imam said, it is a full-time job. We are not kidding. It is a full-time job while you're doing as a student. Sometimes you even wonder, is this like, is this a responsibility I'm running for, or is it kind of like I'm a part-time student and this is my full-time job? You'll find yourself eventually wondering that. What it is a huge responsibility for a student to step up to this position. Once you're in this role for a while, you realize that actually it's not easy, and then you're gonna wonder, how did other people feel so suicidal to run along with you, in MUSA? And for those who stick around with you, right, those are people who you can really count on, because you can consider them your friends, your brothers, your comrade in arms. Okay. And what MUSA is also a learning experience. I'll tell you right now that what MUSA is not just a student council. We are a student association. What that means is that we are not like your Summer Uni student council. We're not your Taylor student council. We are not your typical student council of any other program. We are a student association. And what that means is that we actually have a lot more power when it comes to a lot of things in the university. Like I said, we are in charge, okay, not to say in charge, but we have a hand in most of the affairs relating to students in the university. And that's what makes MUSA so different from other student organizations. So it's a learning experience, because not only do you learn so much more in this new position, but what you also get to do is you also learn how it is like in the real life, in the working world. We are still students, so you don't have to worry so much about, what's the next step, your career yet. But this is a learning experience. Whatever you learn in MUSA carries forward to the working world, and so on and so forth. Everything that you learn here will be a valuable experience for in the future. And this is what I mean by it's a stepping stone, because this is something that will empower you for all your future experiences. That's what MUSA really is. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so just a very brief history as far as we can remember. Okay, so one thing to note is that we originate from our sister association called Monash Student Association, the very original one. You can search them up, MSc Australia, they'll probably pop up when you Google search. And we are also a network of student associations across all Monash campuses. There's MUSA in Malaysia, there's MSA in Australia, then there's MONSU, the Monash Student Union, and the various other smaller organizations across the world that are all from Monash institutions. And one thing to note is that I think we are actually quite old, because I know for a fact that we have existed since 2007, but I don't know exactly when we have been created. That is something that I would also like what to ask, would the HAC also know? I don't know how far back we have to go to find our roots when MUSA first created, but I know for a fact. Oh, Eunice,
Yep.
Damn, okay. So anyway, we are now 22 years old. 22, 21, okay, whatever it is. We are old. We are actually old. So it's prestigious to be a part of, MUSA, who's been around for such a long time. Thanks, Eunice, for the information. You learn something new every day. Okay. Moving on. Okay. Some expectations for these elections, and also for next term for whoever wins these elections. We expect clean and fair elections. This is not just the expectations of the current MUSA, but also all the students and also all the alumni of Monash. If you actually stick around long enough, right, you actually find out that a lot of the alumni from Monash are actually still very much involved in the Monash scene, not least of all the HAC. The HAC is the ones who are more obvious, but a lot of Monash alumni, you still see them around. Occasionally, you also bump into like previous office bearers from like say 2014. Suddenly you say, oh, there's the 2014 welfare officer right there, and you're like, what skeleton came out of the closet? But that's besides the point. You find a lot of Monash alumni everywhere. Okay, so first thing that we're looking forward to is clean and fair elections. We also want adherence to rules and regulations. This actually determines whether or not the public's perception of you is good or not. If you cannot stick to rules now, what's to say that you can stick to rules later on during your tenure? everything is really provided to you. Monash provides you a lot of resources. That's very true. But whether or not you can obtain the resources and whether you can work within the framework to obtain those resources, that's a separate matter. And one of those requirements is adherence to rules and regulations, because just because we're student association, just because we have the authority, doesn't mean that we should always do a certain thing. There are moral and ethical grounds to things as well. And that's where common sense comes in. Although we say it's common sense, we all know it's not very common these days. So I just urge you guys, think before you do things, because you don't want to do something you regret, especially not when you are a leader of students. Okay. And open-minded mindset is required, because a lot of things, right, it's not just one perspective. You also, as office bearer, you also should have to look at things from multiple perspectives. You should look at it from the front, from the back, from the side as well. Maybe look at the top and bottom. Maybe you'll find something different, a different way you can address an issue. And also you need to keep an open-minded mindset, because this world is not just about you. This world also contains your friends, your family. This world also contains the other Monash students, and we're talking in the context of MUSA. Everyone in Monash, staff, students, whatever, all these stakeholders, right? They're also a part of the Monash family. Any decision you make affects them as well, not just yourself. That's why I'm saying be open-minded, because that's something that is more needed in this world. And also that is something that you will most likely need during your tenure as well. So we are also looking forward to the next generation of MUSA. So thank you all who have registered as candidates for the election. We are very much looking forward to our 23rd generation of MUSA members. Yeah, we've been around for a very, very long time. So we would like to see MUSA continue to be around for a very, very long time to come. And the last statement might be a bit weird, to some of you. The fun kind of stress. What does that mean? Why is stress fun? Got such thing on as those who have been in MUSA before will know that there are those cases where you are very, very stressed. You are always doing something for the students, but at the end of the day, you feel happy. And this is something that is very weird, as a person, you might never experience this very much, but this is something that you will come to expect as an office bearer, that stress can be fun too, and especially if you are doing with friends. So while most of you are from two parties, right? I remember there are two parties in this election. Regardless of your status now, you are still students. That's number one. And second thing, regardless of whoever wins the election, you are still a part of the family. You are still a part of MUSA. And there is no right for you to be fighting against each other when you are a family. Family should always resolve any squabbles and everything like that. As a part of a team as well, you need to work together. So if there's any of you fighting, right, stop it. Stop it right now. Okay, next slide. Okay, key traits of a MUSA office bearer. I'll just put something simple, okay, big common sense here and there. Judgment. Judgment is needed when you're assessing a situation. Whenever you think about things, you need to judge the situation and see what actions you should take. That's analysis. Analysis is when you assess the situation and so you decide how to do things. Planning is when you decide, how to do things. And in MUSA, we don't accept last minute work. You cannot afford to do last minute work, because everything you do last minute drags everyone else down as well. So planning is very important. Fairness. When we talk about fairness, right, we are also talking about how it affects other people. When you make decisions, it needs to be fair to other people as well, and not just something that's for personal gain. That is not something that we encourage, nor can we forgive such an act. And as for decision making, some of you might have to make very difficult decisions. That's undeniable. And you need to know that whenever you make those decisions, you have the right information, you have the right people supporting you. And that decision making is going to be very hard, trust me. But that is crucial to your role as well. You might have to make decisions that you might not like, but someone has to make these decisions. And as a candidate that you step up to the role, right? That is something that you will inevitably face as well. So take this as a lesson for the working world. And as for accountability and responsibility, I'll just put those two in one line, right? As office bearers, you take on a role to serve the students. That is the most basic tenet. Outside of that, right, you might also be like, oh, I wanted some new experience, so I'm doing this thing, it sounds very glamorous. But if that's what you're thinking, and if you're just in here for the certificate, right, and you have no intention of putting your 100% into the work, I advise you this is not the right room that you're in, because this, whatever I just said, right, this is the reality of the situation, because it's not easy, because you might have to make decisions that might not be popular with other people, but you're doing this for the good of the students. So you need to take the accountability and the responsibility for the actions that you're doing, for whatever you're considering. Everything you're doing is for the students and for yourself. You are also a student. Okay, yeah. So just take that into note. These are the key traits that we're looking for in office bearer, and so far it served us well. Okay, moving on. Do I have one more slide? Okay, yeah. So I don't like long speeches or whatever. I just like to get straight to the point. So I'll just conclude here. The world is your oyster. I'm sure you guys have heard this around. This is one of Monash's official sayings as well. And then the official Monash motto is Ancora Imparo. And this thing is something you should take to heart, because even as people, right, you learn something new every day. See, we all learned that MUSA was created in 25th January 2000, you know. This is something that we didn't know before. And as a person, right, you should not take things very personal, especially when it comes to elections or anything MUSA related. Work is work. Personal thing is personal thing. People might not mean to hurt you when it comes to work, but there are inevitably times when you might feel very frustrated, feel very stressed. But as long as you have a family behind you, that's why I stress that MUSA is a family. As long as you have a family behind you, you will be able to handle things, regardless of however the difficulty will be. There's always a way out. There's never a way where, this is an impossible situation. The whole point of MUSA is for you to learn while also helping the students. So, Ancora Imparo, I'm still learning. I'm still learning every day. Even now, when I'm in this position, I'm still learning. Learning never stops. It's just a matter of whether you choose to learn or not. So don't ever close your heart to new things, because this is the valuable experience that will help you along the way. Okay, I think I'll end it here. I'll pass it back to the Election Commission.
Thank you, Dominic. That was very inspiring. I felt very passionate about MUSA. I'm not even a Monash student. Anyway, I'll let my DRO take it from here. I'll come back in later, but for now, Alethea will take the floor because she will be handling this part of the session. So Alethea.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Dom, for sharing. Okay, moving forward with the candidate briefing. Okay, next. Okay, what will be covered? I'll just be going through the election calendar and then some of your responsibilities as a candidate, which includes general campaigning, the Know Your Candidate series, the election guide, debates, vote scrutinizing, and then the candidate checklist, and then we'll close it off with important documents and platforms for communication and updates. Yep, next. Okay, so this is the election calendar. Campaigning will begin from the 19th until the end of voting on the 9th of October. The Know Your Candidate series will be published from the 19th to the 24th, and then we'll release a debate timetable on the 25th. This is for the public, but we'll probably release the debate timetable a little earlier for candidates. And that will be released before debates commence from the 26th to the 30th of September. And then the election guide will be published on the 1st of October, right before voting commences from the 3rd to the 9th. And then vote scrutinizing will take place on the 10th. And finally, we'll announce the results on the 12th. So that's just what that looks like. Another important date, oh, whoops, can you go back? Sorry. Another important date is just the 19th of September. This is very important for candidates. Every task we're about to assign you in this briefing, the deadlines for those tasks are all on the 19th. Okay, you can go now. Okay, general campaigning. Next. Okay, campaigning includes any activities designed to achieve a political or social goal. All campaigning must be conducted in accordance with the election regulations. The election regulations have been sent out on Discord already, so do check that out. All promotional campaign material must be approved by the Election Commission before it's distributed or displayed. So right now, we'll really quickly run through the election regulations. Okay, next. Okay, this is from clause 20 publicity. So as I said before, they must be authorized the Election Commission to be distributed or displayed. This includes any digital content or any physical stuff like pamphlets, items of clothing, posters, yeah. And we'll be keeping a register of all this stuff. Okay, next. Okay, this is about this paper. So in case of posters, it cannot exceed A3 in size. In case of pamphlets, it cannot exceed A4 in size. And you can't alter the paper, so you can't laminate it or add adhesives. I think if you're just putting it up, you can use pin boards and the pins and such. Okay, next. Okay, for clothing, these are just some regulations about the colors that you can use and the amount of colors you can use. Okay, clothing and any type of clothing can only be consumed by the candidate. It can't be given out. And the Elections Commission may specify the quantity of boards, tables of chairs that candidates of the parties are allowed to use. Okay, next. These are specifically prohibited, so banners or advertisements in newspapers, radio, or television, giving out any consumables, but badges, stickers, and balloons are not consumables. Okay, next. Okay, now we move on to prohibited conduct from clause 34. Content of all promotional material must be fair and honest, so no dishonest conduct and any conduct intended or likely to mislead or deceive a voter. Okay, these are specifically prohibited, providing false information to the returning officer, failing to comply with the direction of the returning officer or tribunal, impeding the conduct of the election, publicity not in accordance with SEC regulations. And yeah, okay, next. Okay, the following are specifically prohibited as well, campaigning outside anytime. So before the 19th, you can only start campaigning on the 19th. You can't use any MUSA or MUM facilities not generally available to all students, and you cannot enter the offices of MUSA without written approval of the commission, and using any notice board, letterhead, logo of any MUSA body, etc. Next. Okay, these are also prohibited, campaigning unless you're a student, but you're all students. So, or paying a person to campaign, campaigning outside campus grounds, offering gifts, exchanging goods, or damaging any MUSA or MUM property. Okay, next. It is also prohibited to place material on these places. So any ground outside, outside MUM or any kiosk where you would damage the kiosk. Tables, chairs, or floors in cafes, eating or communal venues, or lecture theaters or tutorial rooms on campus, or the letterboxes of clubs and societies, or any unauthorized areas. Okay, next. Sure. Okay, MUSA members are not allowed to campaign using any MUSA platforms. I think that, MUSA members include the subcommittee members and the office bearers. So an example of what is not allowed would be using the platform of facility. When you're at a MUSA event or campaigning in MUSA messaging groups. You can still campaign for yourselves or others, provided you are not using any MUSA platform or facility. Okay, next. Okay, so reports of prohibited conduct or materials. So the person reporting the breach must be given the opportunity to present their case, and then the person who has been reported will respond, and then the returning officer or the election commission will investigate and see if there has been a breach and give instructions as if fit. Okay, next. Okay, so if there has been a breach, the returning officer may suspend that student from campaigning for a period of time. This will probably work on a case-by-case basis. But if there has been a serious breach meaning a breach of sub-regulations 34 A to D, or failure to comply with the direction or ruling of the returning officer, they may be disqualified from voting, standing and voting from that election, and a specified number of future elections or all elections. Okay, yep. Thanks. Okay, to submit any type of material, you just need to send a picture, so a PNG or JPEG of the campaigning material, whether it's a physical item or form of digital publicity, to the returning officer via private message on Discord. And then once we approve your material, then you can distribute or display it. It could take up to 2 days though, so please plan in advance when you want to get it posted, because we need time to process that. Okay, this is the guide to campaign material submission. Everything you need to know about campaign material submission is already here, including how to manage your campaign and how to submit. Okay, next. Okay, the Know Your Candidate series. Okay, next. Okay, the Know Your Candidates series is a form of campaign material that will be published on the official MUSA Instagram page. So it's a way for candidates to showcase their manifestos to the student body, as you can see here. So a manifesto is basically a set of policies that you will implement if you are elected. These are some examples. So what they've done here is they've used a shorter headline point followed by a brief explanation. So an example of the headline point could be increase awareness of rights, and then the explanation could be to ensure Monash students are better aware of what they can do against poor teaching practices, or something like that. Okay, so basically what you have to submit is self-introduction, as you can see at the top under their name, and the manifesto for the position they are running for. Do note that candidates who are running in shared office bearer positions together must only submit one self-introduction and one manifesto representing all of you. Then candidates running for the school assembly representative positions must only submit one self-introduction and manifesto representing both the male and female candidate. We'll also have to take in your Instagram handle and a photo of yourself. This photo may be different to the photo you submitted during nominations. The photograph can be a half body shot or maybe a little more colorful and nicer photo of you. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the guide to the Know Your Candidate submission. Everything you need to know should be here, including like how to write your manifesto and how to submit specifically. The deadline is, as I said, the 19th of September at 10 a.m. So please take note of that. Okay, next. Okay, now we're talking about the election guide. Next. Okay, so an election guide is another form of campaign material that is published by the Election Commission, just to draw attention to the election itself. So it will be made available to all Monashans before the voting period, and it's a way for candidates to elaborate on their manifestos in a question and answer format. So the questions are actually determined by the MUSA 2022 office bearers, and the answers you give to their questions are known as your policy speech. So for ticket holders, we ask that you submit one policy speech representing your student party. It should detail like your party's mission, vision, values and such, but does not have to follow such a strict format, unlike the candidates' policy speeches, as you can see here. So for the candidates, again, we ask for you guys to submit one policy speech for the position you're running for, meaning one set of answers to the questions. But for candidates who are running for a shared office bearers position together, you can only submit one policy speech representing all of you, as you can see here also. And it's the same for the school assembly representative positions. So you guys submit one policy speech representing both the male and female candidate together. Okay, next. Okay, yeah. So this is the election guide, the guide to 2022 election guide submission. Everything you need to know about the election guide is here, including how to submit. Do note the submission method is a little different for those running like independently and those running for shared office bearer positions together. Again, the deadline is the 19th of September, but it's a little later, so it's 11:59 p.m. It's like right at the end of the day. Okay, yep, next. So I'll pass it on to you, RO, for the debates.
Okay, hello. So now I'm going to talk about the debates and basically how the debate structure will go. So we will start with the introduction. I think I've explained this to the ticket holders before, but just so you all know, the introduction is where the RO or the DRO introduces the debate participants, talks about the itinerary, etc. We will have one RO or the DRO per session because we have quite a few debates to go through with. So you'll most likely have not more than one of this. Then we have the opening statements, which are basically your guys' time to make an impression for yourself. You talk about your manifestos, you say whatever you want to say as an opening statement. Then we have the Q&A by candidates and office bearer. Another word for this is the cross-examination. This is when, let's say candidate A will get a chance to ask questions to candidate B regarding their manifesto. And it will happen again after that. After the candidate's turn, it will happen again by the office bearers. So perhaps Dominic, the current president, will be the one asking our next presidential candidate for questions about their manifesto. And after the first Q&A, you have the second Q&A, which will be done by the students. The debates will be live streamed on YouTube. So the audience will be the ones that will be doing the second Q&A via the comments in the stream. And after that, we have the closing statements. It's your summary, it's whatever you want to leave the audience with, it's your last impression. Moving on from, and this is the QR code for the MUSA official YouTube channel. If you go into the video section of the YouTube channel, you will see all the debates for the 2021 series. So if you want to find out more about them, you can also look at a video in your own time. For the debates, we also have a few other requirements, something like that. Candidates who are running for a shared office bearer position will not be questioned individually. So you may take turns amongst yourself to answer each question. What this means is that when you are asked a question, it's asked towards the 2 or the 3 or 4 of you, whatever it is, the number it is, it's asked towards the group of you collectively, and whoever answers it will be determined among yourselves. Male and female candidates running for school assembly representative positions will not be questioned individually mostly, and you can do the same thing. Even though they are not shared positions, the representatives will also follow somewhat of the same format as shared positions. And candidates who are rerunning for their next position will be questioned by a proxy. So if you are, let's say, the general secretary of this year and you're rerunning, you will obviously not be questioned by yourself. Someone else will take your office bearer place to question you in your stead. And this is the form that you will need to submit when you are trying to arrange your schedule for the debates, the confirmation, etc. And then now we move on to voting, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give you a brief introductions. A lot of these are also, like Dom said, common sense, but you know, it's still good to run them over. Every student is voting except for the general secretary, and all voting is done in secrecy. For Monash University International Students Society, of course, only international students can vote for them. So if you're not an international student, you're not voting for them. Female students can vote for women's officer. You cannot vote for the women's officer if you are a male. And only students from the respective schools can vote for the school representatives. So let's say if I were from the School of Science, I cannot vote for the School of Engineering representative. Yeah. And how voting works will be done electronically. There is a specific system to this. If Min Hao is here, is Min Hao here? Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so Min Hao is not here. Anyway, Min Hao is the person that will be taking charge of this system. If he were here, then I would have asked him to present it, but since he's not, then I will do it instead. So it's done electronically, like I said before, and you vote by logging into the e-balloting system with your authenticate username and password. And as you see in this example here, there are a few options you can choose from. Whichever one you want to lead, whichever one you want in the position, you vote. If you don't like all your candidate options, there is an abstain option where you choose not to vote. Recently, someone had also asked me the question of if you are the only candidate running, is the position guaranteed yours? The answer is no, because if more students choose to abstain from the vote than choose to vote for you, then you don't get the seat. Yeah, it says here candidates running unopposed will need to obtain 50% of the votes to secure the seat. So if you have a majority, just more than 50% votes voting to abstain, then you don't get the seat. And this is how the vote counting will work. It's counted electronically. ROs and DROs, meaning me and my team, will retrieve the vote results from the information technology services on the same day. And this is the list of people that are allowed to be there. Only Election Commission, the staff from the information technology services, and scrutinizers are allowed to be present. But before I move on, let's talk about what scrutinizers are. As you can see here, each party appoints 2 scrutinizers. Each independent candidate appoints 2 scrutinizers to be present during the vote retrieval. A scrutinizer cannot be a party member nor a current council member. And basically, in layman's terms, what a scrutinizer is that a scrutinizer is someone who makes sure that there's no fishy business going on between the RO or the election commission or the information technology services staff. There's also another clause in the regulation stating that there is nothing happening, like the commission and the ITS will not be in cahoots. So you can read that regulation in your free time. And this is the vote scrutinizer form. Similar to all the other forms, the deadline is on the 19th of September. So we have 2 parties. The parties will have to appoint 2 scrutinizers, like I said. And for the independent candidates, you will also have to appoint at least 1 scrutinizer for yourself before 19th of September. This is the candidate checklist. These are a list of all the forms that you can look at. As you can see here, wait, I can't really see it. Never mind. My screen is being blocked, so I can't see the top 2 forms. But here you have the campaign material, debate, confirmation, and vote scrutinizers forms. And these are also the important documents. They are posted on Discord. So if you DM me asking me to send you the important documents, you're not going to leave a very good impression with us. As you can see here, there are MUSA handbook, election regulations, and MUSA constitution. A brief rundown on what these are is the MUSA handbook just sort of gives you information on what each role is about. It's like a sorry, what am I thinking of? It's like a instruction manual. Then you have election regulations. These are the rule books for the election. You have everything about campaigning rules, about nominating rules. You have voting rules. They're all in here. And for MUSA Constitution, this is a more general rule book for MUSA as a whole, and not just to do with the election. So to learn about your role, you should definitely look at the MUSA handbook, MUSA Constitution. These are our platforms and communications and updates. As you can see here, we have the Discord, which I trust most of you are at least in the server. We also have the Instagram, which is MUSA official page. This is not just to do with election updates, it's to do with the entirety of MUSA, but you will be able to find a lot of the helpful infographics and information on the Instagram page. We also have our email for inquiries and for formal processes like complaints or appeals. These also go to musa2022ec@gmail.com. And recently, I want to congratulate our public officer team for getting the website up. It is very helpful. It serves as a one-stop solution for all our MUSA information. You can visit it here. And I guess that leaves us with our breakout session. But before our breakout session, can I ask that everyone turns on their camera for us to take a small group photo? Dakshina, are you here?
Yeah, sure. No. Yeah.
Okay, Dakshina, can you take the photo? Just tell us when.
Can you stop sharing the screen so I can take the gallery view?
All right. Mm,
You're gonna give us a 3, 2, 1, right?
just tell us when you're taking the photo, Dakshina.
Most of the candidates have not switched on their camera. Please
Some can, so it's okay. Don't worry about it. You can take with the current ones because some people can't turn on their cameras.
Okay, we're good.
Yep. While we're waiting, has everyone eaten dinner? Maybe.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
You wanna buy us dinner, is it, Brandon?
no.
Someone asked if we are serving dinner here.
Hi guys.
Are we?
Dominic, boss Dominic, sponsor.
I also want dinner can belanja me.
Which module?
I told the E-Commission they don't get dinner if the session doesn't go well. Just kidding.
Okay. Dakshina, are you done with the photos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, the
Okay.
breakout session is
Yeah.
for you guys to be in your respective positions with your current office bearers. So I trust that Dakshina, are you assigning them to their breakout rooms now?
No, all the positions are available. There are altogether 22 rooms. You can go to your respective room, which you already know which position you have applied to. So you can go to the respective room. The rooms are open now.
All right, Sean, I stopped live, yeah?